It's been a couple weeks since we talked about tariffs, and I am surprised because for a while it was getting crazy. But we're back. We're back in tariff town. Let's talk about it. So from The Guardian, Trump vows to slap 25% tariffs on EU and claims bloc was formed to screw US. We're going to watch a clip here, and then we're going to talk to our favorite MAGA consultant, ChatGPT, about these tariffs and their implications. If you don't know, I use ChatGPT to disprove MAGA or right-wing claims because ChatGPT AI is a right-wing tool. It is a part of Project Stargate, which Trump signed an executive order on within his first 2 weeks of office. So if it has any bias at all, it would be right-wing. So I like to use it to disprove their claims and fact-check them with their own tool. Anyways, let's watch this clip, and then we'll read this article, and we'll talk to our good friend ChatGPT.
Okay. Mr. President, on the EU tariffs, Mr. President, have you made a decision on what level you will seek on tariffs in the European Union?
We have made a decision. We'll be announcing it very soon, and it'll be 25%, generally speaking, and that'll be on cars and all other things. And European Union is a different case than Canada, different kind of case. They've really taken advantage of us in a different way. They don't accept our cars. They don't accept essentially our farm products. They use all sorts of reasons why not. And we accept everything of them. And we have about a $300 billion deficit with the European Union. Now, I love the countries of Europe. I guess I'm from there at some point a long time ago, right? But indirectly, pretty directly too, I guess. But I love the countries of Europe. I love all countries, frankly, all different. But the European Union's it was formed in order to screw the United States. I mean, look, let's be honest. The European Union was formed in order to screw the United States. That's the purpose of it. And they've done a good job of it, but now I'm president.
The European Union was formed exclusively to screw over the United States, and that's not true. He made a lot of claims there. I'm sure a lot of them are just false, but I don't have the time to go through every one of them right now. But we'll just go with what's in this article and some of the touches from ChatGPT. Let's see. Donald Trump has threatened to slap 25% tariffs on the European Union, claiming a 27-country bloc was formed to screw the United States. Speaking at his first cabinet meeting on Wednesday, the U.S. president said he would soon release details of the latest tariff threat. We have made a decision and we'll be announcing it very soon. It'll be 25%, he said. The EU vowed to respond firmly and immediately to unjustified trade barriers, signaling that it stands ready to retaliate swiftly against new tariffs. The bloc is the U.S. third largest trading partner alongside China. Trump has said he will impose 25% tariffs on the U.S. two largest trading partners, Canada and Mexico, next week. It'll be interesting to see where that goes because they were delayed because they came to some agreement. So what's he going to ask for now? Trump did not give further details but mentioned car makers and said the levies would be applied generally and that it'll be on cars and all other things, he said. So we're just like for other countries he's threatened, like Mexico and Canada, it's probably going to be just across the board. 25% tariffs everywhere. A European Commission spokesperson said the EU will react firmly and immediately against unjustified barriers to free and fair trade, including when tariffs are used to challenge legal and non-discriminatory policies. The EU will always protect European businesses, workers, and consumers from unjustified tariffs. Trump has made a series of announcements about imposing tariffs on the U.S.'s largest trading partners, but has repeatedly delayed imposing the levies on Canada and Mexico. For all of our sakes, I hope he continues to delay those indefinitely. Earlier this week, Trump defended his tariff threats, said foreign cars, drugs, and semiconductor chips would be hit within weeks. The French President Emmanuel Macron met with Trump in Washington this week, and he appeared confident that he had talked Trump out of a trade dispute with the EU and to concentrate instead on his dealings with China. Come on, you cannot have a trade war with China and Europe at the same time. I hope I convinced him, Macron told Fox News after the meeting. According to Bloomberg, Trump's tariffs could hit as much as $29.3 billion of the bloc's exports. The EU has pledged to retaliate immediately if the US imposes tariffs on its member countries' exports. The EU sees no justification for the imposition of tariffs on its exports. We will react to protect the interests of European businesses, workers, and consumers from unjustified measures, the bloc's executive body said earlier this week. Didn't I already read that? Okay, I did. It's already up here. Why did they have to put that twice? That really threw me off. The Polish Prime Minister, Donald Tusk, Donald Tusk, has said the EU should do all it can to avoid totally unnecessary and stupid tariff wars. Many economists and even conservative publications, including the Wall Street Journal, have warned that Trump's plan risk hurting the U.S. economy. On Wednesday, Trump took to Truth Social, his social media platform, to attack a journal editorial that argued his tariffs on Canada and Mexico would backfire, hurting the U.S. economy, calling the argument so wrong. Trump wrote, the tariffs will drive massive amounts of auto manufacturing to Michigan, a state which I just easily won in the presidential election. Yeah, they're gonna regret giving that to you. So, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I am not anti-tariff. I am for tariffs when they are applied strategically. For example, let's say we are making a product in the US and we make that product, we can meet the demand of that product pretty much all the way through. Then you can apply a tariff on that product to incentivize people to buy US made as opposed to foreign made. Because the whole point is to put the tariff on the product, for imports. And the whole point is to just make that product more expensive so that you would be inclined to buy the American made product, assuming it's cheaper. And also, putting all these tariffs, let's use Taiwan and the semiconductors, super important. Let's talk about that. He acts like he can just slap these tariffs on, and then tomorrow we're going to have 20 new semiconductor factories opened and ready to go. No, these things take a lot of time to build, years to build. Same with any factory, at least a year minimum. This stuff takes time to set up these supply chains, to build the buildings, to hire workers. In the meantime, all you're doing is hurting people, you're hurting businesses unnecessarily. If you want to come up with a comprehensive plan that says, all right, we're going to provide subsidies and grants to X to move manufacturing of X to here, and then in X amount of time, we are going to put tariffs once we can meet the domestic demand. No, he just used tariffs as threats, and his delusion that the countries are paying a tax to us and we're going to have some giant slush fund of tariff money and that we can get rid of income tax and all of that. It's ridiculous. And if you think these are a good idea across the board, no strategic thinking at all, then you just need to do some research. And let's get to what I asked ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT a very simple question. What would happen if we put 25% tariffs on the EU? Let's skim past this. So, higher prices for consumers, that's a given. Higher costs for businesses, that is also a given. So if we have businesses actually manufacturing stuff here, but let's say we don't have the raw materials or, you name it here, we still have to import that to manufacture. So stuff that's going to drive up costs, that's going to hurt businesses. And then the EU has already said that they're going to put their own retaliatory tariffs and then potential job loss. You're going to slow the economy down and sales are going to decline, and that's going to result in people losing their jobs. And we'll skip the impact on the EU because who cares about them? People only care about us, baby. Potential political and trade ramifications, worsening US-EU relations. Yeah, so we're just continuing down the path of isolating all of our major allies. Most of our major allies happen to be in the EU. And I completely forgot about this. Shifting global trade alliance. This is another one of those things where Trump is setting up the board for China to swoop in and fill in the void that the U.S. used to provide. So the EU might strengthen their economic ties ties to China. Insane. Potential benefits for the U.S. encouraging domestic production. So higher tariffs could push companies to manufacture more products domestically instead of relying on European imports. That is true. But there's going to be a lot of pain and suffering to get there if we can fully get there. Like I said, for semiconductors, we produce like 30% of what we consume, or just to meet our demand. And it's like that across the board for a lot of this stuff. You got to be careful when you place these. I respect bringing back manufacturing, but you got to do it smart. Biden was very successful with the CHIPS Act in getting several semiconductor factories in the process of being opened through not tariffs, but through, normal diplomacy, grants, subsidies, stuff like that, instead of just tariffs. Slower economic growth. And then I asked, what do we import from the EU? I'm not going to go over all this. You can feel free to pause and read over it. But number one is pharmaceuticals. So drugs. We already have a problem in this country with drugs costing a lot. And Trump made that problem worse by revoking Biden's executive order. It was only on like 10 drugs, but that was important to a lot of people. He revoked the executive order that put a cap on those prices. And so this is just more drug price increases. And you have your auto parts. We get a lot of parts from, I know this isn't EU, but Mexico that we're threatening to tariff. So insane. And you can just look, we get a lot of stuff where we're a big importer economy, a big importer country. And I don't have time in this video to explain why that's not necessarily a bad thing that we have all these trade deficits. If you want me to do a video on it, I can. But, at the end of the day, trade deficits and us being such a big importer of things, it's not as bad as Trump makes it out to be. Especially in the global economy that we live in. So if there's anything to take away from this is that prices will go up if these tariffs go through. They're not going to stay the same. We've already seen the price of some computer parts go up. You can make an argument I'm just thinking of NVIDIA right now. They claim that they increased the prices of some of their video cards because of tariffs, but there's a whole nother debate about that. It's just all artificial and they're using an excuse. Anyways, we will see the effects if these threats don't become threats anymore and they become reality. So keep that in mind. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.